Welcome back to Press Play. I'm Cedric Fisher, and we are talking about issues in the African American community because if they matter to you, they matter to us. And of course, COVID is the big issue that's going on right now. I wanted to encourage and make sure that you guys are aware we have a comprehensive website of all things COVID, resources, services, affiliations with other groups. And that website, if you can look right behind me, is called blackimpactsab.org, blackimpactsab.org. Of course, yesterday was a big give day, largest fundraising day of the year in San Antonio, Bexar County. An opportunity to donate to our site. You'll see a donate now button here. And I'm just going to scroll down to the very bottom here. Again, spend some time on this site. It's very comprehensive, a lot of great services and good information for you in regards to COVID. But you can see the tracker here that shows that there are now 653,000 coronavirus cases in Texas, 13,997 deaths in Texas, and 5 million positive cases in Texas, or folks that have taken the test. And I'm not sure if you've taken the test yet or if you're even eligible. By the way, everybody can't take the test. There's only a limited amount of tests that are available, and you must have symptoms before you can take the test. So you can't just kind of pull up and say, listen, I just want to get a COVID test. But by all means, take a look at our website, blackimpactsab.org. I want to encourage you to help support the nonprofit by donating at the Donate Now button up top there. Let's talk about the census. And if you have not yet registered for the census, we want to encourage you to do so. And the census has a website. You'll see it right behind me here, 2020census.gov. Make sure you register for the census. This is good information. It's very important for all the services that go on in our communities. They just need good numbers, good count of who's who, so we can make sure we get the funding that's necessary for our services as it relates to the census. Of course, on Press Play, we always like to talk about Black history. And we got a couple good Black history moments we want to share with you. On this day, September 11th, actress Taraji Penda Henderson was born. How about that? I want to bring you over to another site here. And the very first African-American dentist, as this site is telling us, in 1740, a gentleman by the name of Simon. If you think about 1740, a lot of us didn't have last names back there. Most of us didn't have last names. So all they know him as is Simon, was the official first Negro dentist in the United States. It's a Black history moment. Okay, coming up next, we are going to be bringing up our featured guest for the week. And this is another outstanding gentleman. He has a new restaurant in town. If you haven't heard about Promised Land International Flavors by now, you will in a few seconds here. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back with our guest for the week.
This isn't about today.
It's about the next 10 years.
But this is something you can do today.
You can make a difference today
by completing the 2020 census.
The census impacts hospitals,
schools,
public transportation,
and most importantly, our representation in government.
It gives us an opportunity to be heard.
It's easy.
It's only 10 questions.
So do your part.
Go to 2020census.gov and complete the census today.
What are you waiting for?
Hello, this is Cornell with Frost Bank.
Hi there, this is Terry with Frost.
Good evening, this is Franklin.
This is Robert with Frost.
Hello, this is Rosemary with Frost Bank.
One in 3 adults has prediabetes. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Does your life matter? Education, health, and finance can determine your future and explain your past. Pick up the latest edition of Black Life Texas Magazine, a monthly outlook on life with an African American focus. Life is what you make it, so live it in the black.
Welcome back to Press Play. I'm your host, Cedric Fisher, and we're back with our featured guest of the week. Of course, if you've been following Press Play for any amount of time, you know that each week we bring on an individual doing some significant work in the African American community and even the larger, greater community here in Central Texas. Today's featured guest is a gentleman who is former military, great individual. He's got both a background in real estate and in the culinary arts. He is the owner of the new African American restaurant on the east side known as Promised Land International Flavors. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Mr. Fred Johnson. Fred, welcome to Press Play.
Thank you.
Let's get started. Why don't you introduce yourself, just kind of tell our viewers about your background, where you're from, a little bit about your family,
okay,
and let us know who you are.
Okay, well, I'm Fred Johnson, and I'm from a native Texan, from Plainview, Texas. It's up in the Panhandle. It's up there with Lubbock, Amarillo. If you're familiar with Texas Tech, it's all in the Panhandle. The oldest son of Fred and Darlene Johnson, and I have 3 siblings, 2 sisters and a brother. I have 3 children of my own that are here in Texas as well, and I am currently, right now at this particular time, back in San Antonio after in and out stint of 12 years with a civil service contract.
Okay, good to meet you and good for our viewers to know you. Now, this is a particular historic day. This is 9/11, and we were talking offline a little bit that you had some exposure on that day. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about that?
Well, it was interesting because I really don't think about it any longer, but I was on board the USS Comstock. That was my last ship prior to retiring. Well, not retiring, but venturing to San Antonio to teach basic culinary arts to the Air Force and the Navy. And before coming to San Antonio in 2002, 9/11 took place, and we were the first on the scenes to arrive in New York after leaving Australia. They rounded us all up, and we got back on board. And the next thing I know, we were in New York.
Wow. Was that on 9/11 or a couple of days later?
That was. It wasn't actually the day of 9/11, but that's why we went to New York to take care of, whatever was going on there at that particular time. Yeah. We were there to assist, as the military does. We had to do what we had to do. Mm-hmm. And I've always been a cook, always been a chef, and that's what I was doing at that particular time, cooking for those that were taking care of those that were in need. Okay. And so it's just been that type of adventure for me in my life, in my military career.
So you were a chef on the ship at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Very good. Now, do you come from a family of chefs, or was this something that was passed down through generations, or you just had an interest in cooking?
Well, I never knew. However, my grandfather was a cook in the Army. My dad was a cook. And that was the reason I didn't choose to go into the Army, is because they were in the Army and I knew that they slept on the ground. Vietnam helped to influence my decision not to go into the Army. It destroyed our family. However, we're still a close-knit family today. So again, understanding that, I chose to go into the Navy. And in the Navy, I was able to sleep on what we call a rack, which is a bed. It's not that big of a bed, it's smaller than a twin, but I wasn't on the ground. And that was important to me.
That was important to you.
So
that's outstanding. How many years did you do in the Navy?
I spent 20 years in the Navy.
20 years.
Yes,
Yeah, outstanding.
1982 until 2003. I went to 2003 because I exited the Navy in 1986. And then I went back into the Navy in 1987, after which that took me an additional year to 2003 to retire. So I did 20 years in the Navy, and then I transitioned after coming to San Antonio into another civil service job. And I did 12 years with that.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know.
Well, Fred, we appreciate your service for sure. What are a couple good takeaways that you had from your experience in the Navy? I mean, if they're like two major takeaways, what would they be?
Major takeaways was change.
Change, okay.
The one thing that I learned that's constant, no matter what you're doing, no matter what's going on in the world, is change. And you have to learn how to change with change and adapt and overcome. And so with that, that's basically been my life since affiliating with the military and understanding and learning that. It's change. And there'll be another change, even though we're in covert now, and what is the norm now will become a different norm later. How long and when will that happen? We don't know. Okay. But there's going to be a change.
Okay.
Certainly.
So the Navy taught you to respond to
change,
whatever the change is, and
most definitely
go with the program.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is there one other takeaway, one other great benefit that you kind of really appreciate about your experience?
The other one was that, you know, regardless of what you've been taught, what you've learned in your life, in your upbringing, everything we do is learned behavior. And it's about how do I apply that in my life, regardless of what I've taught, regardless of what I know, how can I apply that in my life? And so with that, regardless of my life, we can't ask whose life we're born into, but I've learned that you can't blame circumstances, situations, none of the time, regardless of what's going on. You have to be able to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward, because time is not stopping for no one. It just continues to move forward regardless. So that was another thing that I learned.
Another great takeaway.
In my travels.
And you've brought that same philosophy and mindset to your new venture.
Yes.
Promised Land International Flavors.
Yes.
New restaurant. We're going to talk about that when we come back. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
In the 2020 census, everyone will count. If you lived in the county for only a few weeks or for your entire life, you count. If you live alone, with family, with friends, you all count. Everyone in San Antonio counts because an accurate count determines the number of congressional seats for Texas and how billions of federal dollars gets distributed annually to our community for healthcare, education, and transportation. So on April 1st, everyone living in your household should get counted as part of the 2020 census.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother.
Yes.
You, your football buddy, your football buddy. You, your plumber.
Breathe right into your foot.
Your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. The home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African-American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow.
Welcome back to Press Play. We're back with our featured guests of the week, Mr. Fred Johnson, owner and operator of Promised Land International Flavors, a new restaurant on the east side of San Antonio. You got to come by and see Fred. Fred, welcome back to Press Play. And let's talk a little bit about the Promised Land. You shared some of your philosophies that you gathered from your military experience that you brought to your new business. Talk to us about Promised Land International Flavors, and let's talk about, did you bring a history of cooking to this new venture?
Yes, I brought over 40 years of experience.
40 years experience.
Yes. I mean, when you start talking about from the beginning until now, attended the California Culinary Academy, and I have a degree in culinary. So with that, and then 20 years of experience in the Navy, working in that, teaching, training, and so on and so forth, and that, mentoring. And so there's a vast amount of experience. And then in the Navy, I started out on an aircraft carrier, the USS John F. Kennedy. And so talking about 5,000-6,000 people, so that started out my career there. Had the opportunity to cook for Nancy and Ronald Reagan and Chief of Naval Operations in 1986 when they revealed the Statue of Liberty.
Wow.
In New York again. And so again, a wide variety of experiences cooking for kings, queens, dignitaries, and things of that nature. So, and then just attending school, training. Training is the key.
Okay.
Training is what I've done. Training is what I do. And then just so with that, it's just a wide variety of learning flavors, different seasonings, different things to infuse in order to bring whatever it is out. And then just knowing that we have a society that needs to monitor their dietary. And so I try to work towards that and try to cook more of a healthy, balanced meal than anything else. And so that's where I am right now.
We're going to talk about your menu in a second, but where did you come up with the name? What was the honest behind that?
Well, honestly, Carl, Mr. Booker and I, we were brainstorming, and he actually came up with the name, and I was like blown away.
Perfect.
I mean, just like,
so
wow,
you knew right then.
And then I'm thinking, they walked around the wilderness at the Promised Land for 40 years, and all they had to do was go inhabit it, but they didn't know. So they were at the Promised Land without knowing that they were at the Promised Land. So in that, and culminating that, I thought that would be fitting to come back to San Antonio and open up Promised Land. And then I add the international flavors because I cook a variety of different menu items. I cook from anything from French to Filipino. You name it. I can go down home country, Louisiana style, Jamaican. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna have Jamaican jerk chicken in a couple of weeks on the menu. So we're gonna do that.
We'll look forward to that.
So again, having a different variety and array of skills in the culinary world, it's just fitting that I do a number of different things. In Hispanic, you name it, I do it. I love Hispanic food, so I love cooking it. But again, I just still have passion about culinary because it is an art, and to be able to prepare a meal and to have someone else enjoy it, that's gratifying to me.
So when you are designing or setting up your menu, what goes into your mindset of of the dishes that you create? Is there some kind of system you follow, or you just study the market and what would be in demand or what would be appreciated? How do you create the dishes?
Well, I create them it's like a test market. I'm creating a dish to see what will carry over or what will be the acceptability of it in this area here and abroad, because I'm here on the east side. And so just trying to tap into what people like. Because again, if you like it, you'll buy it. And I do take suggestions. So I'm just when I'm doing it, it's a matter of, okay, I think. It's just a matter of thought. What do I think someone would like? And then at that point, so I'm trying to put a vegetable together, a starch together, to make it a wholesome, nutritious lunch, because that's what I'm doing now is lunch, and I do breakfast. And so that's the thought that goes into it. What would accompany whatever it is I'm thinking about as a main entree, and go with it from there. I mean, and so it's just a matter of, again, with the experience and having an idea of what may accompany what item when I decide what it is that I'm going to make.
Okay. One of our producers asked a question earlier, which I thought was a great question, and that is, given the fact that you're feeding large quantities of people, how do you keep your seasoning and everything consistent? How do you keep all that?
Again, experience. You know, I mean, I've cooked for 10,000 and I've cooked for 2. So to be able to go in between all of that, it's just a matter of experience. And again, I have 40 years of experience. And so with the experience, and then not only that, but just remember this. Once you add it in, you can't take it out. So just add a little at a time, taste it, 2-spoon method, so to be sanitary and safe, you taste it. If you have an idea of what you're doing, if you've made it for 50, it's the same thing for 100, but you add a little more seasoning, and then it's just a matter of flavor and making it, I call it yummy, yummy to your tummy.
Okay. That's a great tagline there. So we're approaching the holidays. Anything significant coming up you plan to do for the holidays?
Well, I'm thinking at this particular time about injecting the turkey and frying it.
Injecting the turkey and frying it, okay.
And frying the turkey
fried turkey.
Fried turkey for the holidays.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had fried turkey, and so that's where I am. I'd like to have some fried turkey and then all the trimmings, the green beans, the collard greens, and the yams and everything that goes along with that for the holidays. And so coming towards the holidays, you'll start seeing holiday dishes, but not overtaking the holiday until the holidays, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I understand you currently do breakfast and lunch.
Yes.
No dinner.
No dinner right now.
Okay.
However, if I'm looking for a chef to come in and take care of dinner, and that's the opportunity that that hopefully we'll be able to talk about later. But I'm looking for that to give someone an opportunity to come into.
So you would train them to
Yes.
to be able to prepare dinner.
To do dinner.
And I understand you're not into catering quite yet. You're working on something to get into catering, but you still can feed large groups.
Oh, I can. I can feed. Yes, is the answer to the question. I can feed large, because I have a commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
And so in that, I have the ability and the space to feed large quantities of people. So it's just a matter of obtaining the license for that in order to be legit.
To be able to promote yourself as a
caterer as well.
Right.
Right now, I'm curbside takeout.
Okay.
And you can come pick it up.
Okay.
And everything is takeout. There's no, because of the COVID, of course, I don't have set down. But once we change from where we are normally to a different norm, then my intention is to have a place to where you can dine in as well.
Okay. It's in the future.
That's coming in the future, definitely.
Okay. So hypothetically, I'm got my family, we're looking for some food. We want to go and have a unique lunch.
Okay.
20 restaurants on the east side. Why would we choose you? What makes you significant or special?
I'm fresh that day.
Okay.
I'm using fresh ingredients.
Fresh ingredients.
All day, every day.
All day.
Every day.
Okay.
And, again, it's a different variety. I don't open on the weekends. I don't open on holidays. So again, there's enough out here for everyone. And I just want my little portion Monday through Friday.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So
Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
And we have the privilege of interviewing, if you watch the show, some incredible
Mm-hmm.
leaders and pioneers and movers and shakers. Most leaders tend to be readers.
Okay.
They each have a book that they refer to, and sometimes they read it daily, weekly, monthly, maybe even every 2 years they pick that book up, dust it off, and reread it, revisit it. That book is typically found on their nightstand, Fred. What book is on your nightstand?
Well, what was dear to my heart, that's on the nightstand, is the Word of God. Because I try to live accordingly to the best of my ability, understanding that we all make mistakes. I don't beat myself up over a lot of different things, but it's an encouraging book for me to hold dear and study as I do, in order to, because there's a lot of things going on today in our world and in our society that is hard. But with His Word, I have a tendency to have a different calm than most. And so what's on my nightstand is the Word of God.
It's the Word of God, the Bible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. That's fantastic.
Forward.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Fred, how can our viewers help you? First and foremost, where are you located? Give us the address.
I am located at 3363 East Commerce Street, Suite 102, at the Eco Lofts. I live and I work here. So again, how can they help me? By coming to visit and enjoying the cuisines and help me grow. And again, if you have anyone that perhaps might even want to get into culinary, have them come and see me. So again, I'm open and receptive.
And folks can pre-order via your website. Is that correct? What's your URL?
The website is orders at promiselandif.com, and you can order, or you can call in, you can order.
So that's your email address, right?
That's the email address to order.
And the website is
promiselandif.com.
Okay, promiselandif.com.
And just the initials for International Flavors. I know it's long, but I couldn't help myself.
Okay, it all sounds good. It even tastes better. Trust me, take it from me. I'm a big fan of Mr. Fred Johnson of Promised Land International Flavors. We've been had a great time here today on Press Play, and you now know the new African-American restaurant here on the east side in San Antonio, Promised Land International Flavors. I want to encourage you all to come out. All right, listen, Census is still out there. Make sure you get registered. Be prepared to vote. November 3rd is coming up around the corner. COVID is still out there. Protect yourself. Be careful, cautious, mask up, social distance, all the stuff that the medical experts are telling us to do. We appreciate you coming to the show and watching us this evening. We look forward to meeting up with you again next week. This is Cedric Fisher. Thank you for watching Press Play.